I can't lie, the first light that Colbert sent me was so unextraordinary that I put it back in the box 60 seconds after taking it out. What's crazy to me is that everything they've released since then has been a complete 180, and now they make some of the most innovative lights out there. These are the Colbert CL60 and CL60R, and they're some of the most flexible lights I've ever seen. The CL60 is bicolor, and the CL60R has full RGB support, and they do also make the CL60M, which is daylight only, although I don't have that one. These lights are tiny tanks made completely of metal apart from the buttons, and you'll notice they have a really unique shape to them. Colbert designed these lights with a NATO rail interface on all four sides, which opens up tons of possibilities. For one, the light stand adapter slides into the slots on either the top or bottom of the light and clamps against the sides. Since it's not screwing in anywhere, that completely eliminates the possibility of any twisting, and it's always perfectly aligned with the light. It also allows you to slide it back and forth to better balance the light depending on what modifier you're using. So it puts less stress on the angle adjustment as well as on your light stands, and it makes a huge difference in reducing fatigue if you plan to use these lights handheld. A few other quick things about the light stand adapter is that it has locking teeth on the angle adjustment, a ratchet style tightening handle, and a cable clamp, which I thought was a really nice touch. With the rail system, you can actually connect multiple lights together for when you need more output. And these lights use a wireless mesh system, so you can control multiple lights from the back of just one, as well as through the mobile app. You can obviously use any of the other million NATO accessories out there, or something like the Colbert VM2, which allows you to easily connect and power these lights with a V-mount battery. If you only have NPF batteries, you can use a dual NPF battery plate as long as it has a D-tap output and you have a D-tap to USB-C cable. And of course, you can also use the included AC wall adapter. These lights are too small to have a native Bowens mount built in, but that's another clever use of the rail system in how the Bowens mount adapter connects. It slides right over the front of the light and snaps into place on the rails using spring-loaded bearings. It's a lot faster than other Bowens mount adapters for other lights, and it's plenty strong for the types of modifiers you're going to be using with these lights. Colbert makes 18, 26, and 34-inch softboxes, as well as a 26-inch Bowens mount lantern. The softboxes also use a super fast new quick open mechanism. Obviously, if you have a bunch of other Bowens mount modifiers, you're good to go. I just wouldn't recommend anything larger than about 36 inches for these lights. Overall, the rail system is just a genius design that gives you tons of flexibility and is not something I've seen on any other lights. Apart from the power button, these lights have 4 other buttons and 2 pressable rocker dials on the back for control. Both of these lights have a color temperature range of 2700 to 6500 Kelvin and can be adjusted in increments of just 50 Kelvin. The CL60R also has a blending optic in front to help seamlessly blend all the colors together before they hit their subject. And since the CL60R has colored LEDs, it does support tint control. If you're not familiar, all lights have a color temperature from orange to blue, but they also have a tint between green and magenta. Even if you have multiple lights where the color temperature is a perfect match, the tint can vary wildly between them, so it's really important to have tint control, that way you don't end up with footage that's too green or too pink. These lights also give you a pretty decent selection of special effects with customization like speed or color temperature. The CL60R adds a couple special effects that make use of its full color capabilities like fireworks and emergency vehicles. Within the menu, you can also toggle between smart and quiet fan mode, as well as Bluetooth modes to control these lights from the back of other lights using the CTRL1 hardware remote or using the mobile app. The mobile app lets you control every aspect of these lights, plus some extras like saving and loading presets, as well as color picker mode. I was seeing some 1-star reviews on the mobile app saying that once they updated it, people's lights weren't connecting anymore. I was having the same issue where I could see the light in the app, but I couldn't get it to add to my actual scene, but I finally figured it out. Not only do you have to set the Bluetooth to the mobile app mode, but you also have to press the button to change it from unpaired to pairing. I think the confusing part is that the light was showing up in the mobile app even when it was not in pairing mode, but it's a simple fix and it works well after that. Colbert also makes the CTRL1 hardware remote, which is a puck-shaped pressable dial if you want a more tactile experience. With a short press, you can toggle between controlling the brightness, the color temperature, or the hue, saturation, and intensity on the RGB light. A long press will put the light to sleep or wake it back up, and you can control multiple lights as long as you have them set up properly. It also has a non-slip pad on the bottom, and it's almost like magic how sticky it is without using any actual adhesive. Now, I want to talk more about the USB-C port for power, because that doesn't mean you can just plug in any USB-C source, even if your V-mount batteries have built-in USB ports. If you're going to use a USB-C source other than a D-tap to USB-C cable, they have to meet two requirements. One, they have to support the PD 3.0 protocol, and two, they have to be able to output 80 watts. Even the best V-mount batteries out there really only support 40 or 65 watts via USB. But if you don't want to get the VM2 adapter kit for some reason, there is another solution that comes in handy for some other stuff as well. The Sunwell PD100W is a smart D-tap to USB-C adapter that outputs 100 watts of power via USB-C from any V-mount battery. It also works the other way around, so you can recharge your V-mount batteries with a USB-C source. There's a lot of other benefits to this thing, so much so that I did a dedicated video on it last week, so I'll have a link in the description if you want to check it out after this and weigh your power options for these lights. Now, the only real downside I encountered testing these lights is that the Spectrum sticker on my CL60R was peeling, so I just took it off. Although Kolber has informed me that they will be replacing those with higher quality ones ASAP. These lights also include a really compact carrying case, which I was happy to see at this price point. It's nothing crazy, but it's exactly what these lights need to keep them safe during travel. As always, the last remaining question is in regards to the brightness and color accuracy for these lights, so I tested them with my Sekonic C800 and got the following results. With the CL60 set to 3200 Kelvin, I got an actual CCT of 3253, a brightness of 2300 lux, and a color correction number of just 0.1 magenta. I also got a CRI of 96.6 and an SSI versus the tungsten standard of 85, which is fantastic. With the CL60 set to 5500 Kelvin, I got an actual CCT of 5360, a brightness of 2560 lux, and a color correction number of 1.0 green. I also got a CRI of 95.6 and an SSI versus the daylight standard of 74. With the CL60R set to 3200 Kelvin, I got an actual CCT of 3123, a brightness of 1770 lux, and with the tint adjusted as good as possible, a color correction number of 0.1 green. I also got a CRI of 97.5 and an SSI versus the tungsten standard of 83. With the CL60R set to 5500 Kelvin, I got an actual CCT of 5226, a brightness of 2100 lux, and again with the tint adjusted, a color correction number of 0.1 green, which is essentially perfectly neutral. Overall, really great numbers, and the only thing I can even think to mention is the actual CCT of the CL60R being 274 Kelvin off of 5500 Kelvin. Ideally, this would be closer to within 200 Kelvin of what the screen says, but the CCT can easily change by 500 or more as soon as you add any kind of modifier. So honestly, unless it's way off, the CCT isn't all that important because you should be manually setting your camera's white balance after setting up your lighting. The daylight only CL60M retails for $129, the bicolor CL60 for $149, and the full color CL60R for $199. I think those prices are more than fair, even without taking into account the unique features of this light like the rail system. Overall, the Kolber CL60 series of lights are extremely compact and very flexible, and I highly recommend them, especially to smaller creators and productions. But what about you? Leave a comment and let me know how you think these lights stack up versus other 60-watt competitors. Links are in the description, and if you buy anything at all through those links, it's the best way to support this channel without costing you anything extra. That's it for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.